going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 36 of the Diego Colley Football Show, an NFL Divisional Round special. Always one of the best weekends of the entire football year, the Divisional Round. Just constantly quality football, every single game. It's by far like the eight best teams and some of the eight best coaches, the best players at the top of each team. And this year's bracket has some interesting matchups and matchups we haven't seen before, obviously, besides the Seahawks and 49ers. This will be the third time that these two teams will play. With the Seahawks having playing this team in back-to-back weeks for them. Obviously, the Niners had a break. They played the Eagles in the wild card round, but the Seahawks last game played against the 49ers, which I think creates an interesting dynamic. We obviously have the Broncos and Bills to start off Saturday morning, Patriots, Texans Sunday morning, and the Bears versus the Rams Sunday night. So we're going to talk about all of those four, and we'll start with the Seahawks. So start in Seattle, 5 p.m. kickoff, divisional round matchup, one of the most heated rivalries in all of the sport. But there are so many storylines here, and it's a very, very interesting game. Just to start with the fact that, like I said, the Seahawks just played the 49ers in a high-stakes game. It's not like they played in a game that didn't have any implications, that coaches were hiding things. They played in a game for the number one seed, and the Seahawks took care of business. This was a 13-3 game, but it was a game that the Seahawks dominated, and it's a game that was not as close as the scoreboard even made it look like. There was 2 missed field goals. There was just kind of poor sloppiness in some stages of the game from the Seahawks. But overall, I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, it was pure domination. The Niners had one drive where they got in the red zone, and they ended an interception, a Chris McCaffrey drop pass. If you go back to the last game, Christian McCaffrey had 57 total yards and only had 8 carries, and that was due to the amount of 3-and-outs the Seahawks forced. And they stopped Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy from getting drives really going. And then when it comes to this game, I mean, I've listened to a lot of shows this week just so far, and it's just a lot of people saying, I mean, the Seahawks are kind of a landslide pick. This is the highest spread of any game this week. The Seahawks are 7-point favorites, and a lot of people don't see any reason why the Seahawks shouldn't lose this game. And I mean, quite honestly, I'll agree, and I'll get into that in a second. But it's hard not to look at a game that happened 2 weeks ago and think that something's going to be a whole lot different, especially this game is going to be played in Seattle. Last game was in Santa Clara in Levi Stadium. The Seahawks are rested up. The 49ers are more banged up than they were that game. Tatum Bethune was playing in that game. He's out for the year. He got hurt in that game with a groin injury. George Kittle tore his Achilles last week. He's not going to be playing in this game. Ricky Pearsall might be back. Trent Williams looks like he is going to be back. Well, he played last week, so he will be back. He did not play in that game in Week 18. But this is an objectively more banged up Niners team. There was some smoke that Fred Warner might be able to go. That's not going to happen. I think that was kind of just a thing to try to get his team fired up. But this is a banged up team, and this Seahawks team is. We'll talk about injuries right now. Probably the most healthy they've been all year. I mean, there was the little scare today where Sam Darnold, for about 5 minutes, people were like, "Is he going to play in this game?" He pops up in the injury report. He's questionable. Everyone's like, what is going on? And then he comes out to speak to the media, and he says that he tweaked his oblique during routes on air. So that means he's literally just throwing routes to his receivers. There's no defense out there. It's not like full speed. It's kind of the receivers are running full speed routes. He's taking a clean drop and just throwing the ball. He tweaked his oblique, and he decided to go in and get treatment. He says it's close to a 0% chance that he doesn't play in this game. It was just kind of weird news. It was very, very weird news because Clint Kubiak was talking to the media when the news broke. He's talking about how Drew Lock was getting the reps. And Sam Darnold's popped up in injury report all year, and I don't think that Drew Lock has gotten as many reps as he got today, and that's because Darnold just went inside. He didn't practice, which is really, really interesting. And I think he's going to play. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind, honestly, that he doesn't start this football game. But just kind of that factor. And your oblique, when you're making a throw, I mean, it's on. So your oblique is on your non-throwing side. It's on so it'll be on the left side of his body. I believe that's what it was. And when you throw, it's a lot of core. Like that's a big part of getting power behind your throws. So especially if he's taking these intermediate shots when he has to put a lot of zip on the ball through the middle, or if he's trying to take a deep shot, I don't know how much it'll hinder him, but it's definitely a factor. It could be something that you see. I mean, there could be a play where it's like, oh, there was not as much juice on that ball as it should have been, and it could end up in a turnover or some sort of an inaccurate pass, just because it's just gonna be some sort of it's gonna be an uncomfortable type thing. Hugh Millen said on with Softy and Dick that it'll be something that they numb up, and hopefully he's not feeling any more affect him towards game time. But yeah, I mean, you never know. With a muscle injury, you don't want to aggravate it during the game. And I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but that's just my kind of perspective on it. Based on the rest of the injury report, Elijah Royal practiced this entire week. He's not going to be activated. That's kind of an interesting decision to me because I feel like he's a guy that could definitely help in the pass game. He's not going to be activated though. Charles Cross popped up on the injury report, not just with that hamstring, with a knee injury, and was limited, but he is going to practice. And he's not. He is going to play. There's no designation for him. Darnold's the only guy that's questionable. Everyone else is going to play. Kobe Bryant's going to play, so he'll be back. I'll be interested to see how much Ty Okada we see, because Ty Okada, I think, has been really, really good in his time filling in. So I don't think he's a guy that Mike's just going to completely leave off the field, because I think he's been very, very quality in his time playing. Just the rest of it, everyone else is good to go. Requillen popped up with a oblique injury as well, but he is going to play. On the Niners side, Jair Brown's going to be out. Jacob Cowing, rookie receiver out of Arizona, is going to be questionable. Ricky Pearsall is going to be questionable, and Fred Warner's out. D. Winters is going to be questionable, the pass rusher. So, any surprises there on the Niners side? Not really. I would have to think that Pearsall plays. I find it hard to believe that he played in that Bears game before the Hawks game. Then he doesn't play in the Seahawks game. He doesn't play in the Eagles game. He's questionable for both. I find it hard to believe he sits this one out. They need him, especially with no Kittle. They need as many options and weapons in the pass game as they can get. So I would have to think that Pearsall plays. So getting into this game, let's look back at the last one first. So offensively in the last game, the Seahawks rushed for 180 yards. Darnold, they rushed for 180 yards, and that was because Robert Saleh, a main part of his game plan, was keeping two safeties back, keeping them at 12 yards, backpedaling them to start, and limiting any explosive pass plays. Now, talking about explosive pass plays, Sam Darnold hasn't attempted a pass over 30 yards in the air since week 14. That is a long, long time, especially considering how many of those he was attempting to start the season. I mean, it was deep shot after deep shot after deep shot. We haven't seen any of those. Not at all. And that's interesting because looking at this game, I don't think that Robert Saleh is just going to let the Seahawks run for 200 yards again. I think that would be poor game planning on his part, because if you look back at that last game, it allowed the Seahawks to consistently move into 49er territory and set up these long drives and get them in scoring position that they just quite frankly didn't capitalize on. And that any other game, I mean, if you let them have that game script again, I would bet they're going to score from the 1 yard line. I would bet that Jason Myers isn't going to miss 2 chip shot field goals. You're just going to allow them to run the ball all over you. I mean, especially with you're playing Eric Kendricks at middle linebacker. I don't necessarily think that shtick that he had last week is going to allow him to play that well this week. This is a better offense. The Eagles' offense is dysfunctional. There's a poor play caller on that end. This is a better play caller over here. There's more weapons, in my opinion. It's just an overall better offense. So he's going to have to change something up. And whether that is, it's going to have to be, I think, bringing a safety down in the box and playing one high at the top. And that's going to set up these play action deep shots. I think I've said it every week. I think this is a week for a deep shot. I actually do. If there was ever a week for them to take a shot deep and connect on some explosive plays on the field, I think it would be this one, because I think especially you're going to see from the start of the game, are the Niners telling us to stop the run? You're going to know because there's going to be a safety in the box. Are the Niners going to let Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet run into these boxes with they have numbers? And with the way the offensive line has been blocking lately, especially with Charles Cross, who they didn't have in that game when they rushed for 180 yards, they have to make an adjustment. Like I think that is something that has to be done. I don't even think that's negotiable if you're the San Francisco 49ers. So I do think this is a game where you can take the top off on offense. Rashid Shaheed has only 3 targets in his last 3 games total. He has 1 in each game. I think that has to change. In that last Niners game, they targeted him on the first pass play, and they threw him an out route, and there wasn't a single thing since. And that was due to the Niners taking away the explosive pass plays over the top because if you watch the game, a lot of JSN's targets on those play action passes was him crossing over the middle. And on those plays, Shaheed's the guy that's going over the top. And they had the two safeties to be able to cover that deep shot on the one side. This could be a game where you take the shot to him or you take the shot to JSN if they have him one-on-one. One thing I want to see in this game is JSN matched up on Lenore and JSN taking it to Diomedor Lenore because so his fans and the Niners fans can't cherry pick these stats that when they're both matched up as if the Niners don't just play strictly zone defense. Like it's not his choice on the guy he's over the top of. He's not picking to be on the opposite end of him. Like that's how the Seahawks play offense. They're not catering it to if he's going to be lined up on Diomedor Lenore. Like it's just stupid narrative. So on a defensive side, on the last time that these two teams played, like I said, McCaffrey only had 57 total yards, only 8 carries. You're going to want to bet that's going to be higher in this game. But this is 2 straight games now that McCaffrey has struggled on the ground. In that Eagles game, he wasn't able to do much on the ground either. He did most of his damage to the air and most of it on that one trick play, to be honest. I mean, he only rushed for 48 yards, 15 carries. Demarcus Robinson was their main factor through the air. I mean, he had the best game of his career, and they're going to need that from him again in this game. 6 receptions, 111 yards. They're going to need a guy like him, Pearsall, Kyle Juszczyk to step up in this football game. Kyle Juszczyk mainly is, especially, I think is going to be a huge factor in this game. George Kittle went out. Obviously, they have a guy like Jake Tonjes who can step up and has shown in games this season that he can make plays down the field. I mean, he's a third-year guy, but he's really having a breakout season. He has 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, that's nothing to gloss over, and he stepped up well when Kittle was gone, and he's actually the guy that made the play in the Week 1 Seahawks game to help them win that football game. But he's going to have to step up, and Kyle Juszczyk's going to have to step up. Kyle Juszczyk, typically, he's the fullback, all-pro fullback, kind of just a guy moving around in motion. Maybe he'll catch one ball a game. But last week against Philly, he stepped up when they needed him to. I mean, he caught 5 balls, I believe it was, 4 or 5 balls, and all those came after George Kittle went down. He was running a lot of those tight end routes that Kittle would run, and he has good hands. So that's a guy you're going to have to watch. I do not want to get beat by Kyle Juszczyk. That would just be so demoralizing. And another thing about last week, about the last time they played, the Seahawks only missed 3 tackles. That was an elite tackling performance. They were letting guys catch the ball in front of them in the flats and making the tackle. They were not missing easy tackles in the flat to lead to first down, to lead the first downs on third down, to lead to explosive plays early in drives. They did not let that happen. I don't know that I would say that they're due for a come down there because this is a great tackling team, but they're going to need to tackle well again to limit these 49ers drives from even starting. I think that's an important factor. Going back to last week's game against the Eagles, Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions. 2. In the last game against the Seahawks, he threw 1. I don't necessarily think that one was much of his fault. Bounced off McCaffrey's hands. It was a little behind him. It might have got tipped, I think. But that's important. He threw 2 last week, but they overcame them very well. And he stepped up when it mattered most. He was clutch when they needed him to be on that last drive, driving down to win the football game. So he did have his flaws in last week's game, but he had a great first drive, and he had massive game-winning drive to win the game for the 49ers. So what happens in this game? I find it hard to believe, like a lot of people, that this game goes much differently. What I do believe, however, is that Kyle Shanahan is going to go. As much as I love the Seahawks defense and believe in Mike McDonald, I don't think Kyle Shanahan goes out sad putting up 3 points again. I think that he's obviously going to pull out all the tricks in the book. I don't necessarily think they're all going to work, but he's going to have stuff ready. I think if Pearsall's there, that allows for some sort of explosive play potential. However it is, I don't think that they go out giving up 3 points again. I think that he called a good game plan against the Eagles, quite frankly, especially once they settled in to go down on the game-winning drive. Brock Purdy was in rhythm. The key early here is, I think, just rattling Brock Purdy. You can't let him settle in, because when he settles in, I will give it to him. When he's on his game and he's kind of in that flow state, he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. Like, I'd say top 10. Like, he's not a top 5 quarterback in football, but when he's playing well and he is feeling himself a little bit, and he can scramble around a little bit, something that they didn't let him do at all in the last game. They did not allow these big Brock Purdy scrambles to happen, these big scrambles to happen on big third downs, on big fourth downs, on just early downs to get these first downs and extend drives. That did not happen at all. I mean, let me just pull up the rushing numbers in the last game. I don't think it was. I don't think it was many. I mean, I'm trying to think of any times that he ran for a first down. I don't think he ran for a first down in any game. So he ran for. Let's see. Brock Purdy ran for 2 times for 21 yards, and I'm like finding it hard to even remember when that was happened. It's just they did a great job of finishing sacks and getting to him, and the defensive ends did a great job of containing him to where when they got pressure, he couldn't get around him, and the defensive tackles were so in his face that he couldn't. He kind of just panicked. He tried to step up in the pocket, someone would be in his face. The end would come up and hit him from the back. Like they did so well in pressuring him that he had nothing to do, and I think that's a big factor in this game. You have to do that early. You have to get after him early and force some turnovers. Like it's something that you can very easily let it happen. I think a lot of Purdy's turnovers happens when he goes over the middle, when he feels that pressure and he's trying to push the ball over the middle deep. He's a little bit inaccurate. He sails it. He's obviously a guy that doesn't have much juice on his throws. So he's going over the middle and just the juice isn't there. So a guy can undercut it. He airmails him. He underthrows him. That's when the Quinyon Mitchell interception happened. There's ways that he can force interception. We just have to make better plays on the ball than their receivers. And I think that we have the DBs to do it. I would love to see Devin Witherspoon get an interception in this game. I feel like this is a game for Kobe Bryant. He seems like a guy that always picks off Brock Purdy on those deep balls over the middle that just quite frankly miss their guys. So I think that's a big part of this game. And Sam Darnold in the playoff game. I mean, it's obviously going to be a narrative. It's going to like it's a national narrative. Oh, the Seahawks aren't going to win anything because they have Sam Darnold at quarterback. This isn't the end all be all for that. If he wins this game, it's not like, I mean, they're 7-point favorites. So they're expected to win this game, but this is a step in the right direction. Go out, play a clean football game, build yourself some momentum going into the rest of the playoffs when they're going to need you to play pretty good football and score a ton of points. Let's get the playoffs off to a good start. Let's score some touchdowns. Let's get a deep ball to JSN. Let's get a deep ball to Shaheed. Let's reactivate some of that early season offense in a game that you definitely can. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to score a bunch of points on this defense. Build some confidence on the offensive ball in the passing game. The run game is surging. If you can get the pass game surging, and you can have both these factors of this team on the offense and the defensive side playing their best at the best time of year, that's dangerous. I'm going to say the Seahawks win this game by 10 points. I think they win 24-10, 24-13. I think they win by 2 scores. I can see it being a close game for the first quarter, first half, and then coming out, maybe it's 10-10 at half, 13-10 at half. You come out and you shut them out the second half, and you put up some points on offense in the second half. It's going to be rocking. I'm going to be there. I'm excited. I don't know who's going to raise the 12th man flag. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most. The atmosphere. It's going to be loud and looming, and I hope the team comes out playing with some fire, and they know what around them and the atmosphere that they're in. This is a Super Bowl contending team. This is a team that has a real good chance to win the Super Bowl. So I think that they win this game 24-10 and really get rolling to start the playoffs. We'll talk about the morning Saturday game now. This is one I'm really looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to watching. It's a great precursor to the Seahawks game because it's kind of a battle of two very, very different teams. This is Josh Allen versus the Denver Broncos. And that's not me sliding the Bills at all, but it really is. Can Josh Allen take on a top 3 defense in the NFL and will his team to victory? He has a flawed defense that I think matches up pretty well with this Broncos offense. And he's facing an elite defense, and he got banged up last week, and they said he was a full go at practice. Who knows how much early he's going to be injected with a lot of things on Saturday. How is he going to be able to match up with these guys? That's just, I'm really, really looking forward to this game. When you look at this, an interesting thing about this game is the Bills offense, as we all know, doesn't have a true number 1 receiver. They don't have a go-to guy. Tyrell Shivers is actually going to be out for this game. He tore his ACL in the first half of last week's game with the Jaguars and played 20 snaps in the second half. That's gritty. Like, that's insanely impressive. So they're going to have Brandon Cooks, Khalil Shakir. The 2 tight ends are going to be big in this game. Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. But they have no guy. Like, when you look at the Broncos, one of the best parts about their defense is if you have an elite guy, Surtain's going to shadow him. He's going to follow him the entire game and kind of eliminate him from the game plan. But the Bills don't game plan their game. Like, they don't game plan their offense around any specific guy. It's not like they're like, I mean, Khalil Shakir, I guess, would you say is their one receiver, but he moves around a lot, catches a lot of screens, catches stuff through the middle, catches the underneath route. He's not a guy you need to send shadow Patrick Surtain with or use Patrick Surtain to shadow him. That's just not what the type of guy that Khalil Shakir is. So they can play this game pretty normally. I mean, they can attack Riley Moss. They can attack the middle of the field with the tight ends. Surtain in this game kind of is a non-factor for them. If they don't have to throw to the side once if they don't want to. Like, genuinely, they really don't. They can attack the slot. They can do whatever they need to, but they really do not have to go after him. They can let Josh be Josh and say, if you really want to test him deep down the field, you can, but it's not eliminating anything from your game plan or one side of the field from your point of view, because you throw to everyone. It's not like you don't have a Justin Jefferson out there that's going to be eliminated from the thing. So that's kind of important. And that's not to say that Surtain's going to be a non-factor, but it's not like it's making it any harder on the Bills, is what I'm kind of trying to say. Can they run the football? That's another important thing. Can they get James Cook going and take a little bit of the weight off Josh and don't make Josh have to carry the ball as many times as he did last week and take all these hits, because they will add up against this Broncos team. They will hit you. Benito will hit you. Dre Greenlaw is going to be playing in this game coming back. He will hit you. Like, they can, Josh, if he gets hit a lot early, that's going to deteriorate how he's able to function and operate in those last few minutes of this game when they're probably going to need him to put together a clutch drive. They're going to need James Cook to have some explosive runs. I mean, just looking at what he did last week, let me pull it up now. Against a solid Jaguars defense, this was a pretty good Jaguars defense. What did he do? He had 46 rushing yards. Yeah, he was a bit of a non-factor, and on 15 rushes, they need more from him. Josh Allen, 11 carries, 33 rush yards. They need James Cook to do a little more, whether that's in the passing game, wherever it is. I mean, he had 5 yards receiving last week. He's getting paid like one of the best running backs in the entire league. He needs to show up in the big game. That's quite frankly what it is. They need James Cook to show up in this game. On the defensive side of the ball, if you're a Broncos fan, what are you the most nervous about? It's Bo Nix. It has to be playoff Bo Nix. And if you look at the Bills' defense, it's a poor run defense. It's one of the worst run defenses probably the worst run defense left in the entire playoffs. ETN had success last week. Tootin had success last week. They ran only 23 times for 154 rush yards. The Broncos need to rely on RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey needs to be big in this game. They need to take some of the pressure off Bo Nix. It's a second career playoff game. Obviously, last year, it's a rematch of them playing Buffalo. It was a bit of a shootout type game. Buffalo outlasts them. Bo Nix, they put up a little bit of a fight to start the game, but it wasn't anything that kept them around in it for too long. But Bo Nix is susceptible to some of these bonehead turnovers. And this is not a great Bills defense. Sean McDermott's a defensive coach. This is his defense. If they can do what they did last week to Trevor Lawrence and force a turnover early in the game to get points off of and force a turnover on a big clutch drive to obviously end the game, which is what that one did, that's what this Bills defense needs to do. Stop the run, make Bo throw. Because Bo, we've seen the highs and we've seen the lows of Bo Nix. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix guy. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix proponent. We've seen his best and we've seen his worst. They need to bring out the worst, or they need to bring out some of the worst of Bo Nix. Let's bring out some of these flashes of him making these dumb decisions, him just missing flat out wide open guys, him just checking everything down and coming downhill and making these tackles. Take away the run game and make Bo beat you. If Bo Nix beats you, if you're a Bills fan, you live with that. If Bo Nix drives down the field to win the game against you, you live with that. You cannot let RJ Harvey run all over you, because we know that's been your weakness all year long. We know you're a flawed team. You need to scheme up as much as you can on the defensive side of the ball to make Bo beat you. So what do I think happens in this game? I think that Josh Allen wins this game. I think that Superman Josh puts on that cape and wills his team to victory again. I think his legs are a big factor. I think James Cooks makes a few big plays. I think Knox I think him to the tight end is massive over the middle. But if he needs to escape a few Bonito sacks. He can't let Bonito be the guy that quite frankly, just kills him. He has to make those plays in the backfield, extending plays, running to the right, throwing across his body to a guy like Shakir for those big first downs. It just comes down to where on third downs, who am I trusting? Josh Allen or Bo Nix? I'm trusting Josh. I think the Bills win this game. I think it's a fun one. I think it's more of a low scoring type thing. I'm going to see what the weather's going to be in Denver on Saturday. It looks like it's going to be, let's see, Denver. It's going to be sunny. Not too cold, low of 30, high of 54, or low of 23, high of 43. I was looking at Sunday. It's going to be cold. Nothing Josh isn't used to. It's been warm in Denver all year. I don't think it impacts really either team like that. I think that if the Bills take away the run game, they win this game. It's not like it's a Denver run game. It's been the most high-powered all season. It hasn't been a super hard thing to stop. I think this is a good matchup for the Bills. There's a reason they're favored on the road, or it's even right now, but I've seen them favored. I've seen Denver favored. It's going back and forth. This is the 1 seed. This is the Denver Broncos, 14-3, hosting a game. It's going to be rowdy and mile high. I'm taking Josh Allen. I can't in my right mind pick Bo Nix to win a playoff game over Josh Allen right now. So give me the Bills to win this football game. Let's go. Give me 27-20. I think Josh puts them ahead, and Bo can't strike back to end the game. To Sunday. Well, will hopefully be a stress-free Sunday after watching the Seahawks take care of business Saturday night. We start in the morning. The New England Patriots with a chance to advance back to the AFC Championship versus the Houston Texans, one of the best defenses in all of the NFL, who are at a bit of a disadvantage in this game. They played Monday night, so they get to play Sunday. But an example of a reason that the Monday night playoff game to me doesn't really make much sense. The Patriots played Sunday. Christian Gonzalez, their best corner, their best player on defense, goes to the concussion protocol. And because it's a 7-day week, the concussion protocol, there's 5 steps, and you only clear 1 per day. So you need at least 5 days, obviously, to clear it. So because they get the whole 7 days, he is looking like he's probably going to play. The Texans on Monday night, Nico Collins goes down with a concussion. I don't know if he would have cleared it no matter what, but he goes down with a concussion. And it looks like a pretty bad one. It's his second one of the year. And it looks like he's not going to be able to play because he's quite simply not going to have enough time to clear the protocol. So the Texans, they were the 5 seed, they got screwed in this situation, and now they won't have their best receiver in this matchup against the Patriots defense. That makes for this is an interesting matchup to me because obviously you have the Texans defense against the Patriots offense. And we'll talk about that first. Drake May played at an MVP level all year, kind of just does what he has to do, checks it down, but he turned the ball over against the Chargers multiple times. He put the ball in harm's way. And he was a little off. Like he was missing throws that he's made all year. He's missing wide open guys that he's hit all year. And I don't know if he was really like flustered because it's not like the Chargers pressured him a whole lot. Drake was just missing throws, and it was his first career playoff game. Like that, stuff like that happens. And he's a second-year player in his first career playoff game. But now you're facing the Houston Texans, who they're playing cover 3. They're coming at you. Danielle Hunter's coming at you off the edge. Will Anderson's coming at you off the edge. You got Stingley and Laster playing corner, playing straight up, guarding your guys one-on-one. Guarding Stephon Diggs he was a bit of a non-factor last week. I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be this week. They're going to need a second receiver to step up because these corners don't care who's in front of them. They're making plays on the ball. We saw what they did to the Steelers last week. The Steelers had no ability to do anything down the field. And then in the run game, I mean, they take that away too. The Steelers couldn't do anything. They had 2 10-yard rushes in that game. I believe the Texans have given up, it's a silly number. I think it might be less than 10-yard rushes in like a certain period of time, maybe the last 6 games. They had 1 on the first drive and then 1 in like garbage game when the game was over. That's a big part of the Patriots run game. They're going to hand it to Ramondre. They're going to hand it to Travion, try to get these explosive rushes, try to break you down. And you're not going to be able to do that to this Texans defense. So I'm interested to see how that matches up there. On the Texans offensive front, you saw the lows of CJ Stroud last week. CJ Stroud has played in big games. He's played in playoff games. He's played in big college games. But you saw what the ugly version of CJ Stroud was last week. He turned the ball over 3 times. He's putting the ball in harm's way when the ball doesn't need to be put in harm's way. Like that goal line interception was the worst one. The fumbles, he's trying to make something happen in the pocket, whatever. The flea flicker was a dumb play call? Yes. But the interception when you're on the 15-yard line, 3rd and 4, in a low-scoring game, you step up. You trouble with the snap. They cannot have trouble with the snap this week. There was, I think it was over 5 times when he wasn't expecting the snap. He kind of bobbles it. It hits the ground. He has to pick it up. You cannot do that in a divisional playoff game. This Patriots defensive front is good enough to where they're gonna take advantage of that. And yes, the Steelers have a good defensive front, but the Patriots have, I don't know, would I say they have a better overall defense? I think it's up there. I mean, the Steelers have a solid defense, but the Patriots, they showed it last week. They shut down the Chargers. I mean, if you just look at it, you have um, what's his name, the defensive tackle in there. He's going to be a problem. I believe it's Milton Williams. Yeah, Milton Williams. He's going to be a problem up front. I mean, he got it. One of those plays he got after Herbert, and I thought Herbert broke his ribs. Like Vrabel's going to have his guys ready, especially if Christian Gonzalez is out there. The Texans are going to need other receivers to step up. I mean, this is why you draft 2 receivers in the second round. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, both the Iowa State guys. Someone's going to have to make a play. Christian Kirk's going to have to make a play like last week. I mean, he goes for eight receptions, 144 yards last week. They're going to need something out of him from there this week, too. Dalton Schultz is going to be that guy that's going to have to contribute. I am finding it hard to find where success is going to come for this Texans offense, because it's going to have to be through the run game a little bit, and I don't know that they can do that. This is not a great offensive line. This is not a great running game the Texans have, and quite frankly, I was really surprised at the way they were able to run the football against the Steelers last week. Woody Marks had 50 yards by almost the end of the first quarter. That is not something that I expected to happen, and I don't think that they'll be able to have that success this week. I think the Patriots will be able to shut down that run game, kind of how they shut down the Chargers run game, and without a Nico Collins, that's a big body guy that CJ Stroud doesn't have to throw the ball to. He's going to have to go to Higgins on more of these fade down the field routes. He's going to have to find Kirk in these crossing routes. And quite honestly, I see that the Patriots defense making him flustered, honestly. And I see him struggling to find open receivers. I don't see very much success for the Texans on the offensive side of the ball. But when you have this defense on the opposite side of you, he's going to be in this game, and that's the thing that makes this game hard to pick. He's going to have a chance in this game. I mean, they're 3-point underdogs. He's going to have a chance to go down and put this game away, or go down and score and take the lead late in the fourth quarter, third quarter. Is he going to be able to take advantage of it? I'm not sure. I think the Patriots will be able to get something going into Texans defense. I don't think that they're going to have an explosive day on the offensive side, but Drake May is going to have to be better and more clinical than he was last week against the Chargers. He can't be missing these easy throws on third down. He can't miss Austin Hooper running a corner route in the back of the end zone one-on-one and throw it the angle too high to Austin Hooper, who doesn't have the athleticism to adjust. Drake May has to be better, and I think he knows that. I think having that game last week against the Chargers, where it's a low-scoring game, you got the win, you can adjust, you can come on the next week and say, hey, flush that. We won the game. I know I need to be better. We need to be better on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's big for Drake May in this game, just to get that playoff debut out from under, just out from hanging over his head. So I think the Patriots win this game. I think that they advance the conference championship and set up a division matchup against the Bills. I think it's a low-scoring one that kind of might be one of those games that takes a leap in the fourth quarter, where it's a back-and-forth defensive battle and one team breaks through and the other one punches back. I wouldn't be surprised to see CJ Stroud punch back, but I don't think he has enough. I think especially this offense without Nico Collins is too flawed. I haven't seen it enough from CJ Stroud in these important games, in these playoff games, in these big moments. I just haven't seen it from him. And I think Drake May is that guy. I think he's a killer. I think the Patriots win this game. I think it's 21-17. I think it's like the 10-7 range, around half, maybe into the third quarter, and the Patriots score. Then the Texans can't quite punch back there, and it's 21-17 Patriots win. To the nightcap, to Chicago. Wow, am I excited for this game. It's either going to set up a Seahawks versus Bears matchup in the conference championship, or it's going to set up a Seahawks versus Rams Titanic matchup. The Rams are favored on the road. I think a lot of people are expecting the Rams to win this game. It's 3 points, I believe, as it is right now. 3.5. It's gone up. It's going to be cold in Chicago. That's a factor. It is going to be cold in Soldier Field. I believe the wind chill is going to have it down to maybe 0. I believe I saw that. But here's the thing for the Bears. They've been the comeback kids all season. We know that. The Bears have been the team that no matter what happens the first 3 quarters, they find a way in the second half. Uh, in this game, you have to play a 4-quarter football game if they want to win this game. They're underdogs at home. Just using last week's game, for example. Matt LaFleur schemed up Jordan Love in that offense. They got out to that lead in the first half. It was 21-3. In the second half, Matt LaFleur kind of outthought himself. He got too cute, and they lost the game. Sean McVay is going to make that mistake. Sean McVay is a big game coach. He's been in these moments. If he gets ahead, he's going to step on your throat. He's not going to blow up 18-point second half lead at all, to be honest. So Caleb, Ben Johnson, and the Bears, they know that. I mean, Ben Johnson knows that. He knows that they got down 21-3 in this game, and he's not going to give up. But he knows that they can't do that. They cannot start slow. Just thinking about how aggressive he was in the first half last week, I think that you can expect to see more of that. I don't think there's any reason that he's not very, very aggressive to start this game, going for it in his own territory, because he knows every possession matters. How his defense plays to start this game is going to help factor in those decisions, yes, but I expect him to be very aggressive from the start. A big part of this game from the Bears, you can run the football. I know I feel like this is a factor for every team when I say it. The Rams are a run defense that has kind of struggled since the midpoint of the season, quite honestly. Bijan Robinson went for 200 yards against them in week 17. The Cardinals game doesn't really matter. They shut down Rico Dowdle, but that was kind of to the effect of Rico Dowdle not really getting established. Chuba Hubbard, though, 13 carries, 46 yards. He had some success on the ground there. Going back to before that, the last Seahawks game, they had success on the ground. And this is the Bears running offense that this is why Ben Johnson was brought in. This is how Ben Johnson built his team in the offseason. Bringing in a center, bringing in the 2 guards. Ozzie Trapillo is not going to play at left tackle, though. That's a big, crucial miss for the Bears, unfortunately. But you have to try to establish some sort of run game between the tackles. You have to establish Common Nunga. You have to establish DeAndre Swift, who has emerged as a great target in the passing game. You need to be able to do that to take some of the pressure off Caleb, because Verse is going to get after you. I mean, we know that. Jared Verse is going to get after you, and you need to be able to take some of that pressure off that and set up those play action shots that are so vital for this offense. I think another important thing is Caleb just doing the easy things well, taking the dump off to Swift in the flat and letting him make that run after the catch. Because there is holes in this Rams secondary. There is. There's shots to be had, and Bryce Young showed that. I mean, deep dig concepts where he's hitting Jalen Coker, and Jalen Coker's running for 50 yards. I can see Roma Dunze catching some of those. Colston Loveland, just for example, had a huge week last week, catching those corner routes, catching those deep intermediate routes, which Caleb Williams is so good at throwing. That's the weakness in this Rams secondary. You can find holes in this. I mean, Chris Shula is a great defensive coordinator, but this is a good Rams defense, but it has flaws. And they're getting Quentin Lake back at safety, which is a really important thing. Terrence Ferguson's going to play. He's a full participant in practice. Stafford's fine with that finger injury. Kevin Dotson, limited in practice the last 2 days. It looks like he's going to go, though. So that's the thing. The Bears want to win this game. It's not going to be a low-scoring game. The factor that you could say you can hold the Rams offense a little bit, Matthew Stafford and the Rams haven't been great in cold weather games. They're 0-2 in Chicago under Sean McVay. Last losing in 2018, I believe. I don't know the one that was before that, but it was a cold weather game. They lost on Sunday Night Football, and that was a good Rams team in 2018. Do I think that really matters, though? No. This is Matthew Stafford. This is Sean McVay in a divisional game. I don't think the cold's going to allow them to stop from. These are football players when it comes down to it. This is Puka Nacua. This is Devontae Adams. They've played in these big games before. I don't think the weather is going to affect them to too much extent. What I do think could be something that kind of gets some momentum going for Chicago is going down and scoring early, going up, because if you let Sean McVay, you let Matthew Stafford take the life out of that stadium, they're not going to give it back like LaFleur and the Packers did. They're not going to give you these consecutive 3-and-outs to start the game, to start the second half if you're losing, like LaFleur and Love did. Dennis Allen's going to have to coach a great football game. I think he's going to have to mix it up. I think, honestly, you have to get after Stafford. You can't drop back and play zone and let him dink and dunk like he did in that game-winning drive against the Panthers. You have to pressure him and hit him. I mean, you saw the Panthers had pressure up the middle. Stafford would throw, hit his finger on the helmet. That's kind of something that you have to. You're not trying to injure him and hurt his finger, but make him not be able to step into these throws. When he can't step into it, that's when he can be a little more inaccurate. He doesn't want to get hit. He's an old guy in the cold. Pressure him and make him get rid of the ball early and airmail someone and force a Bears turnover. They didn't have a turnover last week, and they somehow found a way to win that game. But the key to them is finding a way to force a Stafford turnover, whether it's a fumble off of him, a strip sack, whether it's him dumping it off you, having a peanut punch in the cold, whether it's a tip ball. They didn't get anything to bounce their way last week. They need a few things to bounce their way to win this game. The Rams are a better team. The Bears have more team of destiny vibes. Who do I think wins this game? As much as I'd want it to be the Bears, I think it's the Rams. I just don't think the Bears have enough. I don't think that they have enough on the defensive side to stop them consecutively. I think it can be a fun one to go back and forth. I mean, imagine Caleb Williams and Matthew Stafford going back and forth in a shootout to advance the conference championship game. That'd be fun. I mean, I don't know anyone that wouldn't want to see that. I think we do see some of that early, but I just don't think they have the juice to stick with them long term. I think the Rams probably win this game. I'll say 34-28. I hope it's close. I think these games tend to be close no matter what the disparity is between teams. I think Ben Johnson finds a way to keep this game close, but it could be a situation where the Rams are up 2, the Bears cut it to a one-score game, and the Bears can't get that patented stuff that they've been able to get all season long to get the ball back and score to end the game. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Looking forward to a great weekend of football. Going to react to it all Monday morning and then to kind of talk about the national championship, which is Monday night. So thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully we're talking about this with a Seahawks in the conference championship next weekend. And I hope it's a great weekend of football. Going to be loud and lubin on Saturday. Looking forward to that. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you for listening.